Alright everyone, right now I'm making this video today because I want to sit there and show problems I'm having with this video card right here. This video card is an ASUS DirectCU II R9 290 video card. What I'm having problems with is going into the BIOS, and when I go into the BIOS it displays it corrupt. Now this is on a ASUS Sabertooth Revision 2 motherboard. AMD motherboard. Now if you pan over here you can see I have it connected by HDMI cable out the back. I know it's a little dark, I'm sorry, but it goes over here to this monitor, which is I'm using a TV screen right now for. But as you can see, it's displaying the screen fine, and if I go and do web searching or anything like that, you know, it will pull up, it will connect and displays fine, it will play games fine. But if I go to BIOS with this computer, let's say this is running Windows 8.1 Pro, let's just go down to settings here, go over to power, go to restart. You'll see that the splash screen, it displays alright, not a problem. Now let's sit here and hit the button. I'm going to hit delete and try and get into BIOS. Give it a moment. For some reason it sure seems to take a long time to get into BIOS on this. As you can see, it's still hooked up. I'm not messing with it. Go back over here, still waiting for it to go into BIOS. Still taking a long time to get in there. Now, as you can see, it's loaded into the BIOS. And the BIOS is not displaying right, it's corrupt. Let's see if I can get a closer look for you. If you look at the BIOS right there, it's not displaying right, all the lines are messed up and everything like that. I can barely move around in it. Let me see, I haven't done nothing, still right there, still hooked up at HDMI. Now I can, after a while of playing with it, I learned that I can switch out of this mode by going here and selecting to change things to exit, or I can go down to the side and you'll see how it displays differently, but it's still not right. It's still not going to the screen. It's not displaying all of the BIOS settings and everything like that. Half of it's cut off. You know, as I scroll through it, most of it just will not display right. And as you see here, the screen's not coming right. And then if I go into easy mode, let's see, let's say ASUS easy mode. If I hit enter, okay, the clock comes up. That doesn't disappear. The screen that should be up is the one with the main performance and everything on it, and you're supposed to be able to use a mouse because this is a UEFI. But if I use the mouse, you can see all it does is leave a trail of the screen that's supposed to be under it, and nothing is clickable. Nothing is able to be used on it. It's just all corrupt. You know, there's nothing I can do with it. But I can hit escape and hit save, discard changes and exit. I'll even do that. And let it start. And it will go directly into Windows. It'll start loading up and it'll work fine. It will play games fine. It will do everything. But the problem is I want to do adjustments in the BIOS. I want to do a little overclocking and stuff. But I can't. There's nothing I can do because I cannot access the BIOS correctly on that video card. Now the reason I'm doing this first part is because I can show you that what the card is doing, and there it goes, it's in the Windows and everything will work fine. But I'm going to change out this card for a 680 that I have. I'll cut to that in a minute, and then I'll show you that going through HDMI to that TV, that it's not the motherboard, because the BIOS will be displayed correctly on the screen. So I'm just trying to make this little video to show y'all what my problem is and see if maybe I can get some help with it. Alright, now I'm in this part right here, and I'm going to change out the video card to the GTX 680 on this board, and then I'll do the same thing I just did with this video to show you that the problem does not exist with another video card on this motherboard. Be back in a little bit. Okay everyone, we're back right now again. This is, like I said, I put in the GTX. It's from MSI. I'm sorry, not MSI. It's a GTX 680 standard card. You can see it's just HDMI out to the TV. You can see also that the TV is being displayed fine, and you'll see that it's still hooked up to the internet and all. I'll go down and open up the Explorer just so you can see it's connected. Everything's displaying okay. Everything's working alright. Okay, this is, scroll that out. Like I said, what the problem I'm having was in the BIOS, so let's go down to settings and then restart. Okay, now as this goes to restart, I'm going to hit the button to go into BIOS when it comes up. Okay, there's the main thing. I am now hitting the delete button to go into BIOS. As before, it'll probably take a minute or two before it'll go in. Okay, and as you can see now, the BIOS is displayed correctly. I can actually move my mouse and go to AI Tweaker, Advanced, Monitor, Boot, or whatever. We'll go to Advanced here. You know, I can do anything I want. If I hit Escape, I can hit without saving. You can see everything comes up normally. I can use the mouse because it is a UEFI BIOS. But I mean, this correctly displays as I want it, so I can make changes. This is with the GTX 680. Every time I put in the R9 290 DirectCU II from ASUS on this ASUS Sabertooth Revision 2 motherboard, it shows the corrupt BIOS as I showed in the part before this. Okay, I am going to try this in another PC. I'm going to put the R29 in a Intel version, because this is an AMD version, and I'm going to see if it does the exact same thing, if the BIOS is displayed corrupt or not on the card. And I'll show you that in a little bit, but as I just wanted to show, you know, I put in the 680 in here. All I did was plug it in, and everything's running, and the BIOS is displayed correctly. Whereas it was not displayed correctly on the ASUS R29 video card. You would think the ASUS video card would work with an ASUS motherboard, but that doesn't seem to be the fact. So right now, let me go ahead and end this since it's shown. Let me go ahead and show you that I can escape, and Windows is displaying fine also as it was before. So let's just hit F10. Exit without saving, yes, because I don't need to save anything. Nothing needs to be changed. And as you see, it'll boot directly into Windows, just like the other one did. Now that's what gets me. The other one would boot into Windows, would run fine, would play games fine, but would not display the BIOS. The power supply in this computer is a 750 watt gold 80 plus gold rated power supply from EVGA. So I don't think there was any issues with power. There's no issues with the 680. And I did try this with a 780 also. I do not have that on the video because I didn't think it was needed because it was just another GTX card. But it displayed fine with the 780 also. And as you can see, everything is loading up and playing. So I'm going to go ahead and end this part, and then I'm going to move it over to the Intel system and then try it out there and see if the BIOS is displayed correctly or not there with the R9 290. I wanted to see, the reason I'm doing that is because I want to see if it's an incompatibility between the card and the motherboard. Because if I put the card in the Intel system, which is another Asus board, which is a Maximus 5, if it's correctly displayed there, then I know it's probably an incompatibility between the Asus Sabertooth and the Asus R9 290 DirectCU 2 card. But right now the GTX is playing fine. So let's end this one and let me install it in the other system, and we'll start it up and see how it goes there. Okay everyone, we're back. You can see that I now have the Asus R9 290 OC2 video card installed on the Maximus 5 Republic of Gamers motherboard. This is the one that's running the Intel chip setup, the 3370K or 3770K. I can't remember which one exactly. I am a little tired, sorry. This system right here, I put it in. I only have it running off the one monitor now. I disconnected the other monitor so everything would just pop up on the one because it's only the single card. And as you can see over here, if I pan down, you can see there are the two 780s out from the system. Put them on the thing. This is the working system and all. As you can see, it is working fine. If I go down and pull up, let's say, a browser, you can see it's connected to the internet. Everything is displaying fine. Let's close that out. I'm going to go ahead and go to restart. And what we're trying to see though is that the BIOS is corrupt. And to be honest, I've already checked it. The BIOS was displaying fine. So that leads me to saying that this card has a problem with the other Asus motherboard and displaying on it. Because on the Intel, let's see, when it comes up right here for the reboot, when it shows the screen, there we go, Republic of Gamers. I'm hitting the delete button right now. We're going to let that boot into the BIOS, and as you can see, the UEFI BIOS is displayed correctly. I can move the mouse around. There is no corruption. Whereas on the other Asus motherboard, the Sabertooth R2 Revision 2, this was all corrupt. You couldn't access it. You couldn't do anything much with it because it just was jumbled up mess. It's displaying fine here, working fine. Everything is working good on this system. Now with the other system, it just would not display BIOS at all. Pretty much both systems are identical, except one is a Maximus motherboard with an Intel chipset. The other one was a Sabertooth motherboard, an Asus Sabertooth motherboard, Revision 2, with the AMD chipset, CPU and all. But as you can see, the 680 I had put in the system was displaying the BIOS correctly, had no problems. When I put the 780 right here, no, the R9 290 in the AMD system, it was corrupt. It would not display. There was nothing I could do to make it work right. That's why I wanted to test to make sure that the video card itself was not bad, because I didn't think that the card itself was bad, because as you can see, it's working fine here in the Intel system. There is no problem with it. And if I go ahead and exit out of this, here, let's go ahead and tell that we don't want to save because I didn't change nothing. We'll just let it go. And as you see in a moment, it'll start Windows. Now as Windows boots up, you know, I'll have to put in my code again and stuff, so just give me a moment. Ta-da! There you go. As you can see, everything is loading and correctly doing what it's supposed to. Cancel all the stuff. If I go over here, fill up the screen, you can see that the internet is pulled up, the display, things are all working. So it turns out that it's probably just an incompatibility between the motherboard, which is from ASUS, and the R9 290 OC2, which is also from ASUS. So I don't know what to do with it. I bought this card because I wanted an all AMD build. I want an AMD processor, the AMD motherboard, ASUS, the ASUS video card, which was from ATI, AMD, but now it doesn't work. So I have a card that I really don't have any use for because I can't use it in that system. I will be doing a little bit more checking. I will be putting this into another AMD system, which is an older system. It will not be an ASUS motherboard. Oh, actually I lie. It will be an another ASUS motherboard. The older sister I'm going to put into is a 939 chip setup, AMD setup. The motherboard on that is a ASUS Crosshair. Just not 1, 2, or 3 or anything, just the original ASUS Crosshair with the PCI Express slot. It also has a 750 watt power supply in it, but it has 8 gigabytes of memory in it. That will be the next part that you see, because I will change out the other system and put up the older system and put this card in the older system and see if it works with that AMD chipset or if the BIOS will display corrupt. Now the BIOS on the older one, because it is older, will not be a UEFI BIOS, so it will just be a standard blue screen BIOS, and we'll see how that works. But right now, as you can see, the card is working with this system right here, so it leads me to say I'm thinking there's a problem with ASUS motherboard from AMD and the video card. Well, let's go ahead and hook up the other system and check that out. Be back in a bit. Okay, we're back right now. This is the older system right here. This is the one that has the Crosshair, ASUS Crosshair motherboard in it. There's a 939 chip with a 6000 plus processor in it with 8 gigabyte of memory. As you can see, I have the R9 290 DirectCU II installed, and it is on HDMI, and it is running Windows fine. It is booted up. Everything is working okay. I can go to Internet Explorer. You know, everything pulls up fine, working great. Have no problem with any of it working. Like I said, the card is working fine. What we're going to do is go ahead and try and go into BIOS right now. Hit restart. Give it a moment to shut down. See if we can start booting up. There's a Republic of Gamers, Crosshair logo. Tells us to hit the delete, and there we go. The BIOS is displayed perfectly fine. This is the old blue screen BIOS that the older boards had. As you can see, it is the DirectR2. It is an old system, but it is working perfectly fine, and the BIOS is displayed correctly. So all three of these were ASUS motherboards. 2 are AMD, 1 is Intel. The Sabertooth revision 2.0 with the latest BIOS update on the system was not displaying the BIOS correctly. For some reason, there is an incompatibility with that video card and that motherboard that I cannot explain or understand why it will not display the BIOS correctly. But as you can see, there seems to be nothing wrong with the card. It is working with the Intel system. It is working with the older AMD system, but it will not work with the new AMD Sabertooth board, revision 2. I don't know why. I'm looking for help. I am going to post this on YouTube and send tweets to ASUS and a few others. They can't seem to help me or find out any information, maybe, because I really would like to get the card to work. It seems to work fine and everything else. Either that, I'm going to have to send it back for an RMA and ask for a different card to go in that motherboard. I really am disappointed from ASUS that this card will not work with its own motherboard. And I'm hoping maybe I can get some resolution with it and maybe get a different card or something that will work fine. Now, this is 3 computers I've tested this card in. I've checked to make sure that the plays correctly. I've checked to make sure that the BIOS is displayed right or not. 2 of them have worked perfectly, and the one with the ASUS motherboard has not. Now, I can't say it's the ASUS motherboard either, because like I said, I did try a GTX 680 in it. It worked perfectly. I tried a GTX 780 in it. Worked fine. Displayed BIOS and all correctly. I did move the R929 to different slots in the other motherboard, and it still displayed the BIOS as corrupt, and the other video cards did not. They displayed it correctly as it's supposed to be. So I can't say if the motherboard's bad, and I can't say that the video card is bad. I am just saying there is a serious incompatibility in BIOS mode from that other motherboard and this card. So let me go ahead and take this back out, and I'm going to put the GTX 680 back in this one, because that's what was originally in this one. This may be a completely old system, but man, it still works, still shows video, and still streams everything. So I just wish my newer system I had built right there, which was supposed to be an 8-core processor and everything, would work correctly with the card that I had picked. But it seems like it's not going to. And I don't know what other testing I can do. I am asking for help on this, and I'm hoping maybe somebody can give me some feedback. Alright, thank you, and let me get to editing this, and you'll see it up on YouTube, and hopefully people can give me ideas. Goodbye.